Hello and welcome to Martin Lucas Investors channel. My name is Sensei and we're going to be doing the market forecast for today. So what are we going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at what the weather's looking like in the markets. We've got Palantir down quite heavily, S&P dropping as well. We've got some stocks that are quite calm on the day, a lot of things moving sideways again, but there is a few assets moving up. We've got gold again moving up 2%. People are making money on that. So what we're going to do is going to go through the whole of the market, get ready for the day, the week, and get you guys prepared for the day ahead. So what do we have going on in the markets right now? Well, we're looking at XRP just quickly to start off with. I think that's turned into quite a good thing to look in the mornings. And as we've said many times, $2.30, $2. No in between. If $2.30 breaks, then that's when you move higher. If $2 and $2 is the support, if you break that, then you go to the next level. However, right now, what we've kept saying is what you've been doing is you're between two zones and there's not much you can do. If you don't break $2.30, you're going to bleed towards the downside, which is exactly what's been happening on XRP. If you go down towards $2, you'll probably hold at support and then you'll gradually start moving up until one of those zones breaks, even $2 or $2.30. Expect it to just go from one side to the other. Just boring price action, either going towards the downside to $2 or slowly going towards the upside to $2.30 until one of these zones break. That's when you start getting the volatility come back into the market for XRP and you'll get a more significant move. How would we tell if the trend is going to change to try and test $2.30? Well, you've got a few trend lines like this. You just have to keep an eye on them. Once the supply line breaks, the trend moves towards the upside, and then you can have another shot at $2.30. But for now, not much movement in XRP. It's just been slowly bleeding back towards $2 exactly as predicted. Before we go any further, I just want to make sure I say that nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't be giving you advice. Please do not trade based on anything I say during this video. This is just pure dubious speculation. So thank you for tuning in. We're doing our market roundup, our market forecast. We're having a look to see what is not looking too good. We're going to have a look at Palantir bringing the markets down. We're going to have a look at what's moving sideways, slightly sunny in the field, and what is moving up and making us money today. So let's have a quick look at your comments before we move any further on in the video. Okay. So we've got, who was here first? We had Steve here. Every morning is here. Thank you for tuning in again, Steve. Good morning, Sensei Martin. Martin is also here, bright up bright and early. Mike is here. Thank you, Mike, for tuning in. Alex is here. Steve is saying, amazing to wake up to another day. Even more amazing if the markets start to turn to the upside. ZBetcoin potential is enormous like XRP. Please pay attention to ZBetcoin. It's millionaires make buy $1 million of ZBEC for $1,000. Please chance he said that yesterday as well. Do consider becoming a member. You can send in your news into Discord as well. Wonderful, love to hear this. Markets will start moving up. It's all about time and patience. Patience is key, says Steve. I feel positive and strong. Bought the dips as much as I could and now enjoying the time. Steve is saying, I think all these prices are speculative. I don't think we'll ever see crypto this cheap again once adoption hits. First financial system shift where retail is in before institutions. That is correct. I don't think about crypto, but about the market. I believe this was once in a lifetime. Um, Interesting. Kaz and Sky says, good morning, everyone. Tino is here. Good morning. Andy is here. Chris is here. All AX is here. Dan is here. Dale is saying, good morning. Good morning. Stacey Bailey's here. We love it. Mike is saying hello to Stacey. Okay, let's continue. Please do hit that like button if you have just tuned in. Let's try and get to, how many people do we have watching? We've got 68 people watching. We can get to 34 likes. Please do hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll hit the like button as well. There we go. Okay, so what shall we have a look at first? So we had a look at the XRP chart. We also have something like gold moving back up. I mean, this was sort of unexpected, to be honest, but it's in such a bullish trend, you don't want to fight against the trend. You can try and use a support and resistance and say it's under resistance, you might come back down, which is what we did on Sunday. However, because the trend is very much parabolic to the upside, and what you've seen in this parabolic trend to the upside for gold is small pullbacks, 4% pullback, and then you continue on. A sudden sharp pullback, 6% pullback, and then you carried on. And most recently, we've seen that tweezer top, 8% pullback, and over the last 2 days, over the last few days, you've seen gold shoot up another 6%. So gold continuing to outperform every single sort of market you can think of. Um, you might say it's boring, but it's nothing has a track record like gold uh, recently. So brilliant. So gold looking good. Silver is again from those supports at $29, which we're looking at. It is looking like it wants to break out. $34, $35. As soon as those levels break out, you're looking at very quick upside for silver. So we are keeping an eye on silver. Still bullish on silver as well. Going deeper, let's have a look at what we're looking at this week. We've got the S&P 500 futures down 0.67%. That's when at the time of writing. Let me just check what it is currently. We know it's down again today. Let's get you the chart. I mean, we showed you exactly the level of resistance, and it's definitely held as resistance. It's down 0.65% currently right now on the futures. We've got Nasdaq down about 1%. Bitcoin flat on the day. So the US market is set for the second day of losses. Palantir is down 9% in pre-market after disappointing results. Ford is also sliding after pulling its financial guidance, citing tariff impact. So Palantir, let's do a video on its chart. Palantir, um, PLTR, let me just do that. So we're going to do a quick video on Palantir. It is down 7.2% in the pre-market. Again, looks like a double top has occurred. So let's just draw that in. I mean, Palantir at these levels. I mean, I wouldn't dream of buying Palantir at these levels. I mean, is it? I think it's in the S&P 500, isn't it? So people obviously are buying it. Um, Is it in the S&P 500? I think it must be. Let's have a look. What's the market cap? Yeah, it's 300 billion. So it is PLTR in S&P. I very much think it would be. Just trying to have a look. Palantir is easily one of the biggest winners in the S&P 500 index last year. So yes, it is definitely in the S&P 500, and it's been pushing the S&P 500 up very much. So let's do a video on the chart and what happened during its earnings. Okay, there we go. Just going to move that here. Okay, this is going to come out as a video. There we go. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investors channel. We're looking at Palantir stock, a massive drop, one of the biggest losers in the market today. Why has that happened? What happened with the earnings? We're going to break it all down. We're going to do a full technical chart review as well. But before we get any further, anything I say in this video is not financial advice. This is just my thoughts and opinions only. Please do not trade based on anything I say. This is the charts will be dubious speculation, so please just know that's my own thoughts and opinions, and please don't trade off what I say. But getting into it, here is the news on why the Palantir stock is down. We had sky-high valuation expectations. Despite beating revenue estimates and matching earnings per share expectations, Palantir's stock declined as investors anticipated a more significant earnings beat given its premium valuation. Remember, we've said many times the PE ratio on the stock is pretty much outrageous, and for investors to keep staying excited about it, what they wanted was these continuous beats on earnings, not just matching expectation. Another reason was weak international performance. While US commerce revenue surged 71% year over year, international commercial revenue, particularly in Europe, declined 5%, raising concerns about global growth. Number three, modest full year guidance raise. The company's raised its full year revenue forecast from 3.89 to 3.9 billion, slightly above previous estimates, which would have underwhelmed investors expecting a more substantial increase. A very, very small increase in guidance there. Market-wide pressures, broader market declines influenced by geopolitical tensions, tariff announcements, and also has also contributed to stock growth. So just a quick summary of what the earnings actually were, and then we'll be looking at exactly this double top pattern on the chart as well. A potential sort of 70% retrace for Palantir that could be on the cards. A 60% drop in price. Why I wouldn't be touching Palantir right now, that's all coming up in a second. If you are enjoying the video so far, please do hit the like button, and do leave your thoughts and comments down below. Are you buying Palantir? Am I completely wrong in saying I don't like it right now? Please do subscribe if you haven't done so already as well. So the revenue is 884 million. That's up 39%. The earnings per share is up 0.08, so it is profitable, 0.13 per share. We've got revenue uh, up 55% year over year. We've got US commercial revenue up 71% year over year. Operating margin adjusted 44%, gap 20%. Free cash flow is 370 million. Customer growth 39% up year on year. Major deals, we've got 139 contracts over 1 million, including 31 over 10 million. Lots and lots of contracts. So what's the outlook? Palantir projects Q2 2025 revenue to be between 934 million and 938 million, and expects continued profitability. The company anticipates full year revenue of 3.89 and 3.9 billion, with US commercial revenue growth of at least 68%. Despite strong performance, the stock decline reflects the challenges of maintaining higher investor expectations and premium valuation. Palantir's we've got some stats down here as well. The market capitalization is about 291 billion. We've got the next earnings report, obviously, that will be next quarter. That will be interesting to have a look at because investors are expecting a lot out of Palantir. That's why it's got such a high. That's why it's got such a high valuation at the moment. It's because investors are expecting Palantir to continue what it's been doing previously, which is just beating expectations, and showing massive growth, which is now not as massive as they were expecting. What I wanted to show you here was the price to earnings ratio is 657 times. I mean, that is ridiculous in my opinion. We were looking at Palantir on this channel around $10 to $20. We were looking at it down here, and at those levels, it made sense. We had a levels of take profit or resistance to get out of our positions at $45, $70, and $109. So all three of the take profit zones for me, for myself, were all hit. I no longer want to be part of the stock, especially when it's trading at $123 and today pre-market at $114. Those take profit zones were all three were hit at buying at $15. Let's say the average was between 10. Actually, we were looking at this at $6 as well, but let's say the average was $13. We made 217% on the first take profit, 400 on the next take profit, and finally, by the time I was all out of my position, I was that was a 700% gain. At these levels, Palantir to me looks overvalued. I think there's opportunity out there in the market. Looking at the technical analysis, what you've got now forming on the weekly chart, you've got a double top. You can probably see it on the daily chart as well. You've got a situation where you've got a double top, a double top structure. You're probably going to come down as soon as you break $109 on the chart, which could be next. Be careful. $70 is very much in play once again. Those levels might be more appealing, but I would just be very, very cautious of Palantir right now. Earnings was not what investors were expecting. Yes, it's met expectations. However, it's not what investors were expecting, the sort of beats you'd want from a company like Palantir, which is trading that much above earnings. The chart is not looking too bullish. Double top structure. I would be very careful with Palantir. But leave me your thoughts down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Am I completely wrong? Am I not understanding why the company's trading so high above its earnings? There'll be a video up here and a video up here. Please do watch them. That will also tie into this video. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. So that was Palantir. The next thing we wanted to have a look at was the XRP report as well, because there's been the final Q1 XRP report. So let's see who's in the chat. Let's see who's with us this morning. Did we get any news on the Bitcoin Reserve? No, which is strange, isn't it? I think a lot of what they're saying is they set dates, but it might just take a bit longer. Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Sensei, and all you other future millionaires. Welcome in, David. Nice to see you here. Jay Harrington, OM will bounce back. However, it's going to take time. Who else do we have here? We've got Amina. Good morning. We've got Zach Zate in the chat. Mr. Bond, real morning and a lovely day of sunshine on. Zach Zate, always very happy to see you in the chat. I don't know why, but I really like how your picture border moves with color. Oh, well, this one. Thank you very much, David. Who else do we have? We've got Paul D. Good morning, Sensei Son and Martin. Just got here. Hope everyone is well. Right. Good morning. That's an interesting way of saying it. Sorry, wrong one. There we go. Thoughts on MasterCard? Andy, we've got a few news stories to cover. If you want us to have a look at the chart, you can do a chart request via Super Chat and we can have a deep dive into it. Corey Real, good morning. Smash the like button, gets the chopper. Yes, please do hit that like button. How many are we on now? We've got 95 people watching. We should have 50 likes. Got 34 likes. Let's get the music on. Let's get everyone liking the show while we prepare for our
The year is
XRP story.
1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony. Until one day, a young man catches fire.
Please do hit that like button.
Phoenix.
How many likes are we on now? 34 likes. Let's refresh the screen. Have we hit 50? Still 35 likes. That can't be right. Let's refresh. 38 likes. Only 12 more likes. Let's do it. Okay, let's see. 7 more likes. We can do it.
To Freedom donated £2 through a super chat. Any thoughts on NVDA Sensei? _smash:_subscribe.
Wow. Thank you, Alex. Any thoughts on NVIDIA? Let's have a quick look for you before we move any further in. Here we go. What are we looking at? Let's have a quick look at NVIDIA for Alex. NVDA, here we go. Let's just see what this is. Let's just do that for 1 second. I'm just checking something. That's fine. Okay, so NVIDIA is currently sat at 112.11 pre-market. It's not looking terrible. I mean, what you've got going on, and as I've said, is for a lot of these stocks, is this downward sloping trend line. The trend has been to downside, and it wants to break out, and it finally has broken out. But the breakout confirmation would be right when we get back above $116. $116 is the resistance for now, but I'll be waiting for us to break above $160 because then $130 is right around the corner. Every time you've broken above $116. You've gone straight to at least $130. You can see previously it's gone up to $130. When it broke 116 again, straight up to $130. It broke 100. It held 115 as support, broke up, went straight to $130. Held at support, straight back to up to $130. Broke $116. This time it didn't actually, but that was within this downtrend. So I'm sure once this downtrend is over, downwards trending trend line is broken out, so you do have a breakout there. As soon as you get back above $116, get ready for $131. Until then, you have still broken out, but there is always that possibility you come back down to $97, $100. That would be a fake out of this trend line towards the downside, but always a possibility. Most likely scenario is you get back above $116, and then you can start looking at $130. But until you break out of $116, be ready that the breakout isn't fully confirmed until you break above $116. There is always a chance you come back into these zones between $97 and $100. So looking fine. I mean, looking good. Breaking out. MACD's looking good. RSI is creeping towards the upside. So Nvidia is looking fine in my opinion. $130 I might consider selling, but for now I can definitely see a very easy path up to $130. Okay, we've got some. Okay, anyway, let's get on to our XRP story of the day. And this will come out as its own video as well. Let's see where it is here. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. One thing I want to get up is that. Okay. Bring this closer. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investors channel. We are looking at the final ever Q1 report on XRP. The official report that's been going for years and years is coming to an end, and we've got Brad Garlinghouse giving us his opinions on it. We're going to deep dive into the analysis of the Q1. There is some interesting things within the report that we want to cover. We'll be covering the price action as well for XRP. Where do I see my take profit zones? Do we still have a path to $10 and beyond to $100? So do stick around till the end of the video. We will have timestamps down below as well for every section we cover. So if you want to skip to your favorite section, look at below this video and you'll be able to see your timestamps. But before we get any further, nothing I say during this video is financial advice. This is just my thoughts and opinions only. I am an XRP holder, but I am not suggesting you buy or sell any XRP based on anything I say in today's video. Please do your own research and do not follow my trades. So what is going on? What we've got here is that a tweet from Brad Garlinghouse, and let's read it first and then I'll explain what is going on exactly. Q1 25 was an incredible quarter for Ripple, with our acquisition of Hidden Road and the end of the SEC case, not to mention institutional interest in XRP ETPs globally. Moving forward, the XRP market report will be looking a little different. As some may remember, the objective of publishing these reports starting in 2017 was transparency into Ripple's holdings of XRP, which unfortunately was then used against us by the SEC and others. Our commitment to transparency doesn't change with this evolution. We will continue to publish our XRP holdings on ripple.com/XRP. Ripple and XRP related ongoing updates will be shared through existing social media channels rather than collated for a single end of quarter update. So the XRP, the report is now changing. Why? It's because what's previously happened during the SEC case, they've been using this against them, saying you have XRP as a security. You can see on your websites that you're producing reports as if it's a security. They were doing this out of transparency. They hold a lot of XRP. They want to show that they don't want to, what their thoughts are behind their XRP, how they're every month releasing just a few XRP, a small percentage of their XRP onto the market, and it was done for transparency. That was used against them, and I guess so that's one of the reasons they will no longer be doing these Q1, Q2 reports on their XRP holdings. However, we've got the final one. Let's do a deep dive into it before we get into the charts, predictions, and stuff like that. So this is the full report here. What we're going to be doing is analyzing it in a slightly different way with a deep dive analysis AI tool to help us with going deeper into what they say. So the introduction: a milestone quarter and a report, and the report's farewell. Ripple Q1 2025. XRP market reports arrives at a pivotal moment for XRP and Ripple. Not only did XRP's market performance shine this quarter amid volatile conditions, but Ripple also announced it will sunset the report in its current form starting in Q2 of 2025. This is the last one we will see. Since 2017, these reports have been a transparency initiative into Ripple's XRP holdings and market insights. However, Ripple noted that its openness was sometimes used against the company, most notably by former SEC leadership Gary Gensler during its legal battles. Going forward, Ripple will pivot to sharing updates via official channels like its X and websites, and keep public track of its XRP holdings online. So this is not them saying we're no longer going to report on our holdings, we're no longer going to give you all the information. It will be on their website, the XRP holdings. Time to time, if updates arise, they will be updating us, just not in a quarterly report. This final traditional report thus carries extra significance, capping off historic quarter for XRP holdings. This is important, it's the last one, that will give us some more information. So, in summary, 2025 Q1 was marked by soaring XRP price and volumes. XRP outpaced most major cryptos, with significant rallies and trading activity peaking at levels unseen since early 2018. Absolutely amazing quarter for XRP. But remember, it outpaced most other cryptos, but it also flips Ethereum. If you don't believe me on that, there's a video I'll put right above here. You can see it. It will pop down there, and that will show you how XRP has flipped Ethereum, and how XRP is the number 2 largest cryptocurrency. Major legal clarity. Ripple's multi-year SEC saga reached a favorable resolution, and the US crypto policy took a friendlier turn, reducing the cloud that hung over XRP. That case has basically come to a close. SEC is dropping it. It is in the favor of Ripple. They will probably have to pay less once they finish their negotiations. The rule of the Judge Torres from a few years ago stands. XRP is not a security. So very good news there. Institutional and ecosystem growth. Big players filed for XRP ETFs. A major exchange launched XRP futures, and Ripple made a 1.25 billion acquisition to deepen XRP's role in the traditional finance. That was a massive acquisition. Trillions of dollars can come onto the XRP ledger now. They clear about 3 trillion a year. And we can see a significant portion of that come onto the XRP L ledger. So that will be very interesting. A major acquisition, one of the biggest ever in the crypto. I think it's the second biggest ever in the crypto industry. And not to forget, a Circle acquisition might be coming next, which would be the biggest deal ever in the crypto industry. Ecosystem ecosystem metrics and updates. XRPL on-chain activity normalized after late 2024 surge, with resilience DeFi usage and growing stablecoin RLUSD adoption despite fewer newer wallets. So, key financial highlights XRP's price, volume, Ripple's XRP holdings. XRP price outperformance. XRP was one of the crypto's top one of the crypto market's top performers in Q1 2025. Despite broader turbulence, XRP rallied nearly 50% at one point in early February, dramatically outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum. In fact, throughout the quarter, XRP showed clear relative strength, while Ethereum and Solana trended down and Bitcoin hovered at around break even. To me, that sounds like Ethereum, Solana, big players going down, Bitcoin going sideways, XRP going up. It sounds to me like institutions are choosing their favorite, and in my opinion, that is XRP. XRP's price peaked near $3.40 in the first half of Q1, levels not seen since January of 2018. Before cooling off later in the quarter, by the end of March, XRP settled around the low of $2 range. The rapid early quarter rises, followed by consolidation, also led to volatile swings. Realized volatility dropped from 150% to 100% in January's calm, then spiked back up to 130 to 150% during February's surge. Overall, XRP's Q1 price action signaled renewed investor interest as legal fears eased and optimism returned. So these levels. XRP obviously had a great Q1, basically reached all-time highs, depending on what chart you look at. It retraced since tariff news over too much FOMO in the markets, came down to its base of $2, and since we've been moving back up. So I will be showing you that chart and why I think that is completely normal price action, and why I actually think it's quite bullish price action as well. So we'll get onto the charts very shortly, but this is the final quarter release of the XRP report from Ripple. So we do want to continue with this report. Trading volume surge. XRP's trading volume remained elevated and steady compared to late 2024. Ripple reports that the average daily volume was about 3.2 billion on top of tier 1 exchanges in Q1, roughly consistent with the prior 6 months. During price rally, volumes spiked dramatically. Daily spot volume peaked around 16 billion in late January and again in early February. After these peaks, volumes gradually declined through March, but stayed well above the 2024 norms. Notably, Binance dominated XRP trading throughout Q1, accounting for roughly 40% of the volume. That's interesting to note. Binance, 40% of the volume. Korea's Upbit was 15%, Coinbase 12%. Bybit share dropped significantly after the February hack, and other exchanges like OKX, Bitstamp, and newcomers like Bullish split the rest. So Bybit used to have a larger share, more like the just below Coinbase, around 10%. However, obviously that hack occurred, the North Korean hack. Um, well, that's what it's alleged to be. And since they've not, I mean, why would you want to trade on Bybit after an exchange like that was hacked? It doesn't seem too good. Ripple, XRP sales, and holdings. This is something that everyone likes to talk about. Their sell, the amount they sell, their holdings. So let's see exactly what the truth is behind that. For years, Ripple has disclosed its XRP holdings and any sales, typically supported on-demand liquidity and ecosystem partners. In Q1 2025, Ripple escrowed XRP decreased by around 900 million from 38.03 billion at the end of Q4 to 37.13 billion by the end of Q1, consistent with planned scheduled. 3 billion XRP were released from escrow during the quarter, and Ripple put back a majority into a new escrow lock. Remember, that's what they do. They've got this XRP, they unlock it, and they sell a certain amount of that XRP, always in line with what they said they're going to do for a consistent amount of time, and then they lock it back up. So when you see on Twitter everyone going, XRP, Ripple has unlocked billions and billions of XRP, don't panic. That's what's expected. That's what's been happening every single quarter. Consistent with the planned schedule, 3 billion XRP were released from escrow, and Ripple put back a majority into new escrow locks, returning around about 2.1 billion and leaving 0.9 billion released for use. Ripple's own liquid XRP holdings actually ticked up slightly from 4.48 billion to 4.56 billion, which seems counterintuitive given releases. This increase reflects Ripple's retaining some of their newly released XRP or relocating it to entities that Ripple still considers part of its holding. In practice, Ripple is likely distributed on the order of 800 to 900 million XRP into the market or into institutional partners during Q1. These distributions could include selling XRP to support liquidity for its payment products or seeding new XRP based offerings like ETFs or trusts mentioned later in the report. The report doesn't explicitly quantify XRP sales in terms of dollars, but the net effect is roughly worth 2 billion worth of XRP entered circulation this quarter, while Ripple's own stash grew modestly, indicated they supplied XRP liquidity but also held back some of the portion for strategic uses. This aligns with Ripple's note that when XRP is transferred to its third parties into ETPs or trust with the intention to hold, it's still counted as XRP held Ripple until it's expected to enter broader markets. For XRP holders, the key takeaway is that Ripple continues to provide XRP to the ecosystem in a controlled manner, but is not flooding the market. If anything, Q1 saw less XRP unlocked into circulation than the maximum scheduled amidst rising demand. So what do? Happens all the time. They take some out. They either sell it, they put it into, they use it for institutions to put into their ETFs. They give to their institutional clients to use as liquidity, or what XRP was meant to be used for, cross-border payments. So that is in line. They are slowly getting rid of their XRP holdings, which I think the community wants. They don't want one big player holding it. They don't want that they don't want everyone to keep saying, "Oh, XRP, the holder, the creators are holding all the XRP. They can dump it on the market any second." No, what they're doing is in a controlled manner, selling using a proportion every quarter, and that is set to continue. So, in my opinion, that is all fine. They're not flooding the market as a lot of people said they are doing. XRPL on-chain activity and ecosystem updates. So this is big. The XRPL ledger is massive. We just saw the MetaMask story as well. I'll put that straight above here. MetaMask now allowing XRPL tokens on it. DeFi is going to get a big surge on XRP as well. So do watch that video right above. Network activity normalizes after a burst in on-chain activity in late 2024. The XRP ledger saw a cool down in Q1 of 2025. Total on-ledger transactions fell to 105 million for the quarter, down 37%. from its Q4 167 million. New wallet creation was also dropped sharply, about 40%. This pullback represents a return into more typical levels after the frenzy of Q4 when XRP's price skyrocketed 280% and new users jumped in. FOMO, people come in, they want XRP, they create XRP wallets. That's when the most wallets are created, is in FOMO season. Ripple notes that the decline is in line with activity contractions seen across major global blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum. In other words, the entire crypto market saw a Q1 breather in on-chain usage after Q4 excitement. Despite the overall decline, transaction costs and XRPL remained extremely low and even ticked down slightly in XRP terms. Impressively, the average XRP price being higher meant the USD cost per transaction nearly doubled to 0.09. So that's your transaction cost less than a cent, which is incredible. Yet it's still under a penny, reinforces XRP's ledger affordability at scale. You can't say that about Bitcoin. You can't say that about Ethereum. Even if XRP's price grew by 100 times, you're still paying 10 cents for the transaction, and that's if they don't further develop it. So 10 cents for millions of dollars transacted, I don't think anyone will be complaining about that. Worst case, XRP's price grows 1,000 times, you'll be paying $10, $1 for those transactions. I don't think anyone's you'll be paying $1 for those transactions. I don't think anyone's going to be complaining about that. DeFi and DEX resilience. On the one bright spot was decentralized exchange DEX activity on XRPL, which proved more resilient than other segments. On-chain DEX volume dipped only 17% Q to Q. This is a smaller drop than the 30 to 40% declines in overall transactions, suggesting steady usage of XRPL's integrated DEX and DeFi features, even as general activity cooled. By comparison, many other chains DeFi volumes fell more steeply in the same period. The relative strength on XRPL's DEX usage could be due to new tokens and assets launching on the ledger, newly issued stablecoins or IOUs, or XRP holders increasingly experimenting with on-ledger swaps and liquidity pools. Another metric hinting at the ecosystem's growth is actually the number of trust lines. Connections to new tokens projects on XRPL, which actually increased 7% Q1. More trust line indicate more assets issuance on the ledger that users are connected to, a sign of growing token ecosystem. So this is massive as well. This growing, just that last sentence there, more trust lines. So these trust lines are being created. It's actually increased quarter on quarter when everything else has been decreasing. So that just means there is more projects on the XRP ledger. There's new tokens on the XRPL ledger. The ledger itself is growing. More trust lines indicate more assets or issuance on the ledger that users are connecting to, a sign of growing token ecosystem. So the token ecosystem on the XRPL ledger is increasing. The underlying XRP ledger is getting bigger. It's getting more useful. It's getting more used. And it's gaining a lot more attention. And I think that will go up a lot more because of this MetaMask integration as well. RLUSD stable coin growth. Ripple's own dollar-pegged stablecoin RLUSD emerged as a notable driver of XRPL activity. In Q1, XRPL on ledger market cap surpassed 90 million, and a cumulative DEX volume exceeded 300 million. This indicates that RLUSD, launched in 2024, is gaining traction as a medium of exchange on the liquidity of XRPL. Its growth is likely tied to Ripple's broader liquidity solutions and perhaps adoption in payment or relief pilots. What else do we have? We can expect its on-chain footprint to continue rising. For context, 90 million is tiny compared to Tether or USDC, but it's a significant proof of concept for the XRP ledger-based stablecoin. Each new RLUSD transaction or holding also drives XRP ledger usage, trust lines, DEX trades, so its growth contributes to the ecosystem utility. So no problems with their stablecoin so far. All looking good on the stablecoin front. They are paving the way to maybe make a bigger acquisition and make this a bigger part of their business. Ecosystem updates. Outside raw metrics, Ripple's Q1 report doesn't dive deep into the specific XRPL technical updates. However, the ongoing development of the XRP ledger features like sidechains, NFTs, which was launched in late 2022, and smart contract functionality, hooks or EVML sidechains provide important context. The audience is likely aware of Ripple's push into areas like CBDCs and stablecoins using XRPL, but it's worth noting Ripple's momentum under CBDC projects continued in the background, though not explicitly detailed in the report. XRP Ledger's reliability and low cost fees underscored Q1's data, making it attractive platform for tokenization initiatives. Tokenization on the XRPL ledger is going to be massive. Do stay tuned. We've got the chart coming up very shortly as well. XRP holdings holders should be aware that while transaction costs can ebb and flow with the market cycles, the long-term trend involves XRP Ledger handling more diverse asset types and more use cases, from stablecoins like RLUSD to potential securities and CBDCs. The slight drop in new wallets in Q1 isn't alarming given the huge influx in Q4. The key is that the real usage, DEX trading, is holding better than purely speculative activity, a healthy sign for the ecosystem's maturity. The SEC lawsuit resolution, regulatory and legal milestones, SEC case closed, and shifting market tone. A new chapter, perhaps the most monumentous update for XRP investors, is the close of the Ripple's SEC legal saga. In Q1 2025, the US Securities and Exchange Commission informed Ripple of its intent to withdraw its appeal in the case. The decision effectively cements the landmark July 2023 court ruling that XRP sales on the public ledgers and other distributions are not securities, bringing much needed clarity. Ripple in turn withdrew its own planned cross appeal, and the SEC agreed to significantly reduce the remaining penalty from 125 million to 50 million, while even requesting the court to vacate the injunction that had been restricted Ripple's activities. In short, both sides moved to end the fight, with the SEC standing down on its last challenges. Ripple hailed this outcome as a clear victory, reaffirming what has been clear from day one: the facts and the law were on Ripple's side. All that remains in the final court approval for settlement steps, which Ripple's expects to happen promptly. For XRP holders, this is a huge overhang lifted. The token is no longer in a legal limbo with the US, removing fear that has led to exchanges to suspend XRP trading in 2021. By Q1 of 2025, we already saw the US platforms like Coinbase relist following the 2023 ruling, and now the case being fully closed, the path is clearer to broader integration of XRP in US markets, be it exchanges, payment networks, or institutional profiles. And also that coincides with the pro-crypto shift in the US. New leaderships in the US, the pro-crypto executive order, the banking rule changes as well, stablecoin legislation as well. So overall, these shifts imply the US market is becoming a more hospitable to crypto projects like Ripple's. The regulatory overhang of the former SEC is finally gone, as CEO Brad Garlinghouse noted, meaning Ripple can operate in the US without a lawsuit clouding every step. XRP holders should interpret this resolution in risk and extension of risk and expansion of potential demand. US institutional investors who largely stayed away from the lawsuit may now pursue XRP through regulatory vehicles, as we are indeed seeing with new ETFs and futures. While regulations will always pose some uncertainties, Q1 2025 marked a turning point towards rational regulation and engagement rather than enforcement first approaches, which bodies well for XRP's integration into mainstream finance. So, again, so much bullish news that's in the past that will start filtering into XRP's price in the future. And one of the big ones is this new administration, the SEC case being dropped as well. So another one here is institutional adoption and market expansion. One of the clearest themes in if you are actually still watching, please do leave a like button. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I promise we'll get onto the charts very shortly. This is just one of the final reports that we do want to have a good listen into as well. So, institutional adoption and market expansion. One of the clearest themes in the Q1 report is surging institutional interest in XRP as an asset and in Ripple's technology as part of the financial infrastructure. Several headline-grabbing developments underscore this trend. XRP-based investment products proliferate. In Q1, XRP ETFs saw significant traction globally. According to the report, XRP-focused investment funds and ETPs had 37 million of inflows in Q1, more than Bitcoin or Ethereum products over the same time, bringing XRP ETPs year-to-date inflows to 214 million, just 1 million shy of Ethereum's global total. This suggests that big money investors were allocating to XRP through trust and fund vehicles at record pace. And sorry, that's ETPs, not ETFs. Several new XRP investment products were in the works. Franklin Templeton filed for an XRP ETF, spot ETF, joining other issuers after the partial legal victory. Volatility shares applications for 3 ETFs, likely leveraging strategies, and Brazil's first XRP spot ETF. If you haven't seen our ETF video, that'll be straight above here. We've covered all 3 of the new ETFs that were released. The CME launches XRP futures. We have covered that as well. Major acquisition. Hidden Road was one of the largest crypto mergers and acquisition deals ever. Ripple acquired Hidden Road for 1.25 billion. Hidden Road is a global multi-asset prime broker that handles over 3 trillion in annual volume and serves 300 institutional clients. This deal is monumental for a few reasons. One, it instantly makes Ripple a major player in traditional financial markets as the only crypto company to own and operate a global multi-asset prime broker. Number 2, it integrates XRP and Ripple's tech into mainstream finance. Hidden Road will use Ripple's stablecoin and ledger technology. Specifically, Hidden Road will begin using RLUSD as collateral across its suite of products for cross-margining between crypto and traditional assets. This means RLUSD can become part of the plumbing for hedge fund trading, providing a bridge asset like posting stablecoin collateral instead of cash. Over time, Hidden Road will also leverage the XRP ledger to streamline parts of its post-trade operations, including FX, swaps, and repo markets, improving settlement speeds and reducing costs. In essence, Ripple is injecting XRP's efficiency into the core machinery of institutional trading. For example, XRPL is set to XRPL to settle foreign exchange trades or repurchase agreements instantly instead of slowing traditional rails. This is a strategic play that could significantly broaden XRP's utility beyond just cross-border payments. XRP might be used behind the scenes in major financial markets if the integration succeeds. 3. The acquisition also underlines Ripple's confidence in the financial strength of post-SEC case. Spending 1.25 billion is a bold bet on expansion. For XRP holders, Hidden Road's integration implies more demand for XRPL-based liquidity, including XRP and RLUSD, coming from big institutional channels. It also signifies Ripple is not content with just being a payments company. It's aiming to become an infrastructure provider for global finance. It's going to become the biggest bank in the world, in my opinion, with XRP and XRPL as foundational elements. While this is clearly a long-term play, Q1's announcement was a significant milestone in institutional adoption and blockchain infrastructure. The scale of the deal grabbed headlines across the industry and was celebrated as one of the key quarter highlights. CBDC pilots they're still doing. They're hosting the UK Policy Summit. What else are they doing? Remember that Big Circle deal is on the cusp as well. So let's just see if there's anything else worth covering before we move on to the chart. XRP stood out as top performer, outperforming nearly every major crypto company through Q1. It outpaced assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yes, we know that. So XRP is reasserting itself in the market. The token's ability to hit prices not seen since 2018 boom and to outperform Bitcoin and Ether in a choppy quarter suggests that the cloud surpassing XRP has been cleared. Legal clarity is a game changer. Institutional validation is increasing. All the ETFs, CME futures, acquisitions, it's all coming together now. This is reminding me of Tesla back in 2018 when no one believed in it, but all the underworks was happening. If you were looking into it, you could see what was about to occur, and that's what's happening with XRP, with Ripple. The underlying growth is there. So a quick look at the chart. Let's have a quick look here. A quick look at XRP's chart. What is going on in the short term? I mean, you've got the all-time highs that we were looking at $3.50. You've got $2 as the major level of support. We did look at the chart previously and said $2 has been hit a few too many times, and we predicted this big surge to the downside. We came back to normal retrace levels, 50% retrace. Let me just move this, and the 786 from the 2021 and the 2021 high. Those were all levels of support. We held them as support. What's happening now is you've got this downward sloping resistance. You've broken out from it. In the shorter term, there's two levels you need to keep an eye on: $2.30 and $2. $2 is a support I'm expecting to hold. As soon as $2.30 is broken, we start looking to the upside. Then we're looking at $2.30, $3, all-time highs around $3.50, and then my major take profit zones are all on this chart: $4.70, $5.30, $6.37, $7.41, $8.51, $11, and $13. I will be taking profits there, and I will probably be buying back in the bear market, but those are all my take profit zones for XRP. Do make sure you stay tuned with this channel, because I'll be doing a deeper dive into the charts, covering every single bit of news that comes out for XRP. And we did want to focus on this report today because it was the last one. So thank you for tuning into the whole video. There is another video that might take your interest and one more up above, so do check them out. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you all for staying with me during that. It's very interesting to see what, the final report, the final deep dive, what they've achieved, what's coming up, and I think it was important to cover that. We are moving to Martyn in just a second. Let's see if so Martyn's show is ready. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time. That's perfect. Let's just quickly read your comments, see if there's anything that we've missed. I see Coca-Cola going down to possibly $55. Thank you for your time and analysis. Now I have to get ready for work. I'll be jumping in between my breaks. I will see you soon again. Brilliant, Alex. Thank you for tuning in. Lovely, fantastic, and nice sensei. Covered me fully. Much appreciated. No worries at all. Good day on work. If Coca-Cola goes to $70, it's likely to go back by the look of the trend. Nvidia is still performing poorly, sensei. Will this be overturned? If the broader markets, the broader markets are selling off currently, so not until we see tech moving back up. Without want to create an argument or heated debate, but I doubt XRP is going to do anything major for another few years, as it's right now at $2.07, and predictions are that it will sink lower. No, I don't believe that. I think we'll go to $10 in this year or next. Cocoa is dropping close to 50-day moving average. Thank you. Good morning, Sensei, and to all up and around. Yes, please do hit that like button. We're sending you over to Martyn for the opening bell stream in just a few minutes. Red day, but futures very green. Test of endurance for retail, patience for implementation and utility, and ISO 20022 compliance have a long-term strategy. XRP is useless, says Free World. I don't believe in that. XRP is not useless. It's a matter of big guys moving into market. Be patient. We are in the biggest gap between wages and cost of living that we have seen, that we have hit 6 months ago. Delinquencies are worse than 2008. There is always, as Warren Buffett said yesterday, at some point in the next 20 years, you will see one of the worst crashes ever. Adrian Wolf, during the gold rush, sell shovels, crypto rush, invest in wallets, not the crypto. Thank you, Adrian Wolf. Okay, so final look. Have we missed anything that we were going to cover? I don't think so. Maybe just this. Where is it? Where was? Oh yeah, it's here. Oh yeah, Ripple are giving 25 million in RSUSD to support students, teachers, and staff. There was something else. We've got Raoul, we can show that tomorrow. The SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce says tokenization technology could significantly transform financial markets. So keep an eye on this whole tokenization, digitization of these real world assets, because that is going to change the game. Thank you all for tuning in. We will be back with more videos. This is happening every single day. Every single morning, a little market forecast with the top news stories. But what we're going to do now is send you straight over to Martyn. So stay exactly where you are. This will take you to Martyn. If not, the link is in the comments section. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.